Hey there, once again, this is Gevra22, and we are going to take another in-depth look at LittleBigPlanet 2 in create mode. And today we are going to focus on the Controlinator and some simple logic. In this episode, Tom from Media Molecule and I are looking to create an object that we can control with a Controlinator. Basically, we're just going to make a UFO and take a look at its circuit board and use a couple simple tools, simple logic tools actually. So here we're just going to go ahead and grab the Controlinator, pop it right onto our wooden UFO, and as you can see, we're going to check if it's side mounted, show the actual circuit board, see if we can mess around with it, so on and so forth. And as you can see, we actually have a little diagram of the dual shock. We can actually extend the size of the circuit board depending on how crazy we want our logic to be as well. And of course, if you haven't noticed in previous videos, you can actually take each one of those buttons, ranging from the actual square, X, circle buttons to the directional pad and the analog sticks, and you can pull switches from them and connect them to a multitude of different things. And this includes logic gates, emitters, and even sound objects, which we're actually going to take a look at pretty soon. No longer will you have to deal with off-screen logic, such as this in one of my mecha levels. It's really ridiculous. You can also access to the 6-axis accelerometer functions, so if you wanted some motion controls, you can actually do that as well. You just can't map the select, start, or the PS button, sadly. And really quickly, when you place anything on the circuit board, that object will inherit all the properties that are popped onto the circuit board or microchip. So for example, we're going to go ahead and take a look at one of the movers. This one is the movement orb. When placed onto an object, the movement board will basically move that entire object up, down, left, and right. So what you want to do primarily is connect things such as the analog stick or the directional pad onto the movement board axes. If this were LittleBigPlanet 1, we'd have to actually place the movement board orb onto the actual object, but since it's in 2, we can actually throw it onto the microchip, and the object will still be affected. As you can see, we're properly placing the right switches, left and right switch and up and down switch, onto the correct movement board axes, so we can actually move up and down when we press up and down, and left and right when we press left and right. Of course, you have the freedom to move it around. Our next object tweaker is the anti-gravity device. Since we have a UFO, we obviously want it to float in midair, so let's go ahead and tweak the gravity. Next thing we are going to add is a rotator called the gyroscope. The gyroscope allows us to tweak the stability and sway of the object. In LittleBigPlanet 1, we had to come up with crazy contraptions using rockets or stability rails in order to keep our object straight and afloat. No longer do we have to do that, as Media Molecule has created the tools in order for us to keep our objects afloat without these crazy contraptions. Now we're going to go ahead and add a material tweaker to our object. As our UFO is made of wood, it can possibly have a rough landing, so let's go ahead and tweak it so that the wood has a bouncy property. Now to see if it works, let's go ahead and head back to the Controlinator and shrink down the circuit board view, jump on into the Controlinator, and voila, we're off. And we are moving the UFO around with a left analog stick, and as we hit the ground, the object bounces off of the ground, since we actually gave the wood a bouncy property. If we just had normal wood, that wouldn't happen. And as you can see, the gyroscope keeps the object stable as it moves and hits the ground. As a creator myself, all of these little things, all these little object tweakers are going to work lovely with the mecha suits that I love to make, like these ones right here. Now let's go ahead and add a little something to give our UFO a little more life, aside from the fact that it's just a wooden shape right now. Alright, so basically we'll go ahead and add a sound effect to the UFO, preferably one that sounds like we're flying. And as you can see, there was a ton of music to go about, but they're still finalizing the final list, so we'll see if all those things actually make it into LittleBigPlanet 2 when it ships. Since we went ahead and picked vehicle engine sounds, we'll go ahead and choose the rocket sound. Once we've done that, we'll go ahead and slap it onto the circuit board. Now we'll go ahead and grab some simple logic to help designate our sounds as we're flying. So let's go ahead and choose an OR gate. As you can see, the OR gate takes in 2 inputs. Therefore, as long as either input 1 or input 2 is being activated, the OR gate will go ahead and turn on. And in this case, our rocket sound object will activate. Whenever the left analog stick uses left, right, or up or down, the rocket sound will go off. All we needed to do is take the switches and connect them to the OR gate, which will be attached to the sound object. So let's go ahead and jump back into the Controlinator and see if it works.
See. can see the kind of circuit board light up there, which is great, kind of deep art, beautiful. And there we go.
So as you can see, as we jumped into the Controlinator to test the sound, you can actually see the wires on the circuit board light up as we press the analog stick. This addition is great when testing and debugging logic you have created. Last but not least, let's go ahead and have our UFO shoot stuff out. So we'll go ahead and place an emitter onto the actual circuit board. So we need to find something that we want to just go ahead and shoot out of the emitter. So we'll go ahead and take one of the new bullets, the flame bullet, and make it emit. So when you're placing an object that's coming from an emitter from a microchip, or let's say the Controlinator, it's actually relative to the position of the Controlinator. So once you shrink everything down, the flame will actually shoot in front of the Controlinator position. So we go ahead and map the X button to the emitter, and let's see what happens from there. So now we have a flying, flame-throwing UFO that we can control with our Controlinator that we just built in mere minutes. So that's it for now for this part of building UFO. In part 2, we're going to go ahead and take a look at advanced logic and a little bit more into microchips. So I hope you enjoyed what you saw. This is Gevra22, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Take care.